this. What was that? Where is... No, that didn't work. I'll try view, yeah. Haha. Okay, let's see how that looks. All right. Oh, wow. All right, so I'll be moving around because I'm super tiny. So yeah, this is Phishing Like the Pros by me, Louis Santana, AKA Connection. Disclaimer, there's gonna be a bunch of shitty memes in here, so brace yourself. So who am I? I'm an independent security researcher. On Twitter, I'm a Hack Talk blog, so I've probably like ranted at you or like trolled you or something, I don't know. I'm a Boba Fett lover. Screw you, Han Solo. So like, I want to learn from the experts. Like, I want to fish like all the like crazy spammers are doing and all the people that are getting in like APT style attacks and like, yeah. So I was like, I want to do cool stuff. I want to learn the habits of like what makes a good fisher. Like, how are they successful? Why do they run good campaigns? So I decided to study some internet marketing at first because like those guys basically make a living off of making cool emails that you'll click through and they'll get money off of you. So I found out that there's like a couple things that make a really good fisher. They've got good bait. Like in internet marketing, like it's copywriting. Like they sell you that product, you believe it, like you want to go through, you want to buy their product. For fishers, like it just looks legit. Like you're like, oh, like it's the right email address that's sending it to me. The company header's in there. It's got the signature that everyone uses. Like it's legit, and that follows into solid templates. A really important thing to do is like have a repository of templates, both for like landing pages as well as for actual like phishing emails. They become super invaluable because that way, if you got a good one, you could like spam it to all your campaigns, and you know you're going to get good click-through rate. You have to keep it simple because, well, like people are lazy, and if they have to like TLDR your email, no one's clicking on it. If they have to go through like 40 pages just for you to steal their passwords, no one's clicking on it, no one's doing it. You're not going to get your conversion. But the most important thing is you have to log what works and then replicate. You'll learn a lot from your mistakes, and then you'll get really good templates, and you'll like know what works and what works for different organizations and like different verticals. So like take notes, find out what works, and use it a lot. Fish like a boss. I wish I could fish like that. That's spear fishing, I think. So like bait is important. You can use like local news to do things like, oh, here's a disaster recovery plan for like this incoming like natural disaster, like whatever, and you can send it out. People are like, oh yeah, like I want to open that document because I don't want to get owned by a tornado or anything. So like open it up and like you do what you need to do. Important documents. This is really fun to do, like legal docs or internal memos. It's really fun to like wait till like tax season, say, and send someone their W-2 and be like, hey, you should really open up this PDF because you want this, you want your tax monies. Internal memos and stuff are really cool too. Like, oh, we're going to like if you find out that someone's upgrading like to OWA and they didn't have it originally, you can like send them out like, hey, here's our new OWA portal. You should totally log in here. It's not suspicious. So with templates, you're like, there's certain languages expected. You want internal jargon, you want to be able to use that kind of stuff, so you want to be able to recon your target and be able to use things like that. If you could find like internal product names that they use for things or like project names, it's really good, adds legitimacy to your email and as well as your landing page. Company letterheads are great. You can find them like on Google, you can like Google Form, Google Images. One thing I like to do, and I'll talk about a little later, is like if they have an e-newsletter, sign up for it because they're going to email you with like what they email their other people. So they have like the letterheads, and they might have someone's name that you can use when you're fishing later, or you can get an idea for things like typical signatures for internal emails. Actual emails from targets are amazeballs. Like if you can get them to email you something, sweet. Like, because you can copy exactly what they say and reuse it, replay it, and it looks legit because it is legit. You got to keep it simple. Like, overcomplication will kill you because no one likes things that are complicated. People like easy things, and they're busy. Like, people get like 300, 400 emails a day. They don't have time to read like your 40-page thing explaining, hey, like, go to this page because blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. Like, they're like, hey, you need to do this, go to this page, done. If you get to the point and you're looking legit along the way, people are more likely to click through. And that's important because like click through is like only one part of the phishing thing. Once you send your email, people that click through have to hit your landing page or like download your payload, whether it's like a document or like a binary or whatever you might be dropping. The actual conversion happens when after they click through, they're like typing in their creds or they're clicking on a link or they're downloading a binary or a document or executing it. So yeah, like they just want to make it quick and easy, like make it available to them and they'll love you and continuously be phished. Hunting for foods just got easier. I like this picture because A, it's a cat, and B, like, I wish I could fish this easy. Like, yeah, I know I'm gonna get you little fish. Like, you have no chance. So like, shooting fish in a barrel, you wanna set them up for, I guess, failure on their end, but success on your end. So just like make it easy on yourself and you'll typically succeed. Don't overcomplicate things. So you have to learn from fail. I've wrote some pretty crappy phishing emails before, like really crappy. But like I learned from them. I was like, oh, well, the reason why they didn't click is because I said, hey, you're cool, you should click on my dong link. And then they were like, no, that's not happening. So like you change up. You learn that, you know, people don't actually care about things like, oh, hey, go look at our stocks and go to a page. They really don't care about a lot of internal company stuff or like external stuff like that that impacts the internal company. I've learned that honestly, like putting images inside of your emails, it's kind of cool, but a lot of clients won't like show it, so it's kind of pointless. You don't have to add it. A really big thing though is to identify weak points in landing pages or docs. The basic idea is if you notice that people click on your email, but like no one's putting in their credentials, your emails are awesome, but your landing page probably has something that's like tipping them off, like maybe the color scheme's a little off, or you put a typo in, or like your redirect doesn't look legit enough. So you want to identify like what that fail point is so that you can fix it and get your templates working like great every time. And repositories are great for this. Like I go through my spam box about once a week. I'm like, oh, like that was a pretty crappy phishing email. I'm gonna save that so that I know what not to do. I also like, I save like real emails that I'm like, oh, this could be a totally cool phishing email. Like, oh, XYZ company emailed me something about my account and I can reuse this. Like, it'd be pretty cool because it's already got their letterhead on there. It looks legit. It's something they're already sending to people. So why not use it? And why not learn from it? Like, what makes this email look good that their actual clients want to click through and do whatever it's telling them, or go reset your password because we had a security breach, and go to this website to do it, and blah blah blah. We get these a lot, especially if you use LinkedIn because they're awesome sauce. But at first I was like, I don't know if I'm being phished. Like, this is such a good email that people might be phishing me right now. Like, I like this a lot. I'm going to proceed with caution, but I'm going to save this email. So like, file save in Outlook or like Thunderbird. You can save it as an HTML email already, so you can just import it later if you want to like just tweak a few things here and there. Repositories don't have to be anything crazy. Like, it doesn't have to be like a Git repo. You can just be like, I just use one folder. It says crap emails and one that says awesome emails, and I just sort that way. So now we're going to talk about a lot of common fails that will happen when phishing. The cat looks so scared. So don't use PHP's mail function. A bunch of PHP backdoors and such will use this to send out email. It's crap. You're almost always going to flag yourself. You're going to get sent to the spam box. No one's going to see your email. It's just then you get a bad reputation on your server, and then you got to get out of blacklist. It's a pain. Avoid it if all possible. You can use this SendMail or SMTP servers and stuff. It's a lot better, more betters. You want to keep the search engine away. This is really, really important for a number of reasons. First of all, if a search engine crawls through and they're like, hey, this doesn't seem legit, they might submit it to places like Spam House and whatnot, which will start investigating your server, and hey, this is a malicious page. I don't think you really want to be here. So when you launch your campaign, people click through, their browser's like, this looks a little fishy, you should stay away. So you get instantly screwed over by search engines. Another important thing is, and this one's more so for like covering the identities of your clients and like whoever you're running your campaign against. If it gets indexed by Google, like that sucks. Like the phishing page that you just set up for like XYZ companies, like now on Google, yeah, not so cool. Don't get blacklisted. It's easier said than done. Like blacklists are hard. Some of them are yep.
Can you robots.txt that shit so that it won't get indexed?
I mean, you can, but it's much better just like you can. So the question was, can you just use like robots.txt to tell them, hey, don't index this? You can, but people don't have to listen to robots.txt. So what I find effective is like either gather up their IP space or like Google uses the Googlebot user agent. So in HT Access, you can just be like, hey, anyone that comes in from like this user agent, they get sent to like Meatspin or something. I don't know, like just mess with Google. But yeah, like so don't get blacklisted. It sucks. I used to work in web hosting, and our clients would hit us up like, hey, none of my emails are sending, like getting like crazy spam, or like I'm getting everything that I'm sending is going to spam. So we look them up and they're like on every blacklist known to man. Like even legitimate emails are going to spam because Google's like, no, you're doing things wrong. You can get off of these lists. Like usually you just have to hit them up and you're like, hey, like I found out why, like I had a really crazy PHP script that's going on. I was emailing a lot of people, and yeah, it was a little spammy. I'm sorry. I fixed my code. Like I'm an idiot. Please, like get me off this blacklist. Or hey, my server was compromised or whatever. Like you just give them a reason, and you're like, it won't happen again, and they get you off the blacklist. Google doesn't care. Don't even bother contacting Google if they blacklist you. Like, kind of move on. They're just like, meh, we'll get to it when we get to it. So don't hold your breath. Google is awesome, but also terrible when it comes to like blacklists like that. Spoofing reply to in the email header fields, it's for chumps. Like, don't do it. Anyone that looks at it, if you look at this little screen, it this one doesn't have it. It's in another section, but yeah, like you can see, like I can email from like bob@derbycon.com, but my reply to is like lol@outlook.com. People see that, it's like it's right in their face. A lot of people are key into that, and they'll like instantly know that they're being phished. Another reason why you want to use avoid PHP's mail, if you look at this screenshot down here, it has this little, on the third line, it says x-php-script, and it like shows the actual, it's been redacted, but like, it's like www.blank/imgs.php, and like that was their PHP mailer they were emailing out of. So like, A, like you just gave up where your mailer's at, so that's not cool. B, people know they're being phished now. It's really easy for stuff like Spam Assassin to catch this, or like whatever spam solution. And what's super cool is, like let's say you were spoofing and sending out from a completely different server. It's like, yeah, but like it still came from that one server. Like that's where all the stuff's hosted at. It gives them the IP. So yeah, like avoid it. It's a really awesome way to get discovered. So here's just some fails. These were from my personal mailbox, but she's like, "Hi, I'm Miss Henna. I'd like to befriend with you. It takes two to tangle and make a trail of friendship." I'm like, "You're cute, don't get me wrong, but takes two to tangle? What does that even mean? Like, what?" So, like that goes back to like using good language. Like, I'm sorry, like if you can't even write English, I'm not gonna trust if this is a legitimate email. Sorry, Miss Henna, I'm gonna have to pass. I like your smile though. Just the smile. So here's the reply to stuff on the upper left-hand side. They sent it from info@rbi.com, which is the Reserve Bank of India. But in the reply to section, Mr. transfer_DEPRBI2@outlook.com. Yeah, I'm probably gonna go report you because you fail, so you don't even deserve to be phishing. Sorry. Like this doesn't seem legit. Like $1 beer in a pretty. I mean, I think I'd go down there for $1 beer. You wouldn't? Um, please, 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 please stop trying to hide links in like the A tags. People hover over that. Like, no one falls for it anymore. It's in it like every security awareness training in the world. People hover over it. They see that this like add as a friend for Windows Live is going to some weird IP address. Like, no, that's a little fishy. Just buy like a typo domain or something similar and just use that instead. Don't bother trying to hide. You're just gonna overcomplicate and get yourself caught. Also, some clients, like email clients, may not support HTML emails because of things like cross-site request forgery attacks that could be done. So if they're not using an HTML like email rendering, then they're just gonna see your link in plain text anyway, and then you look stupid. So like, how do you chum the water? Like, how can you get info before your engage or your campaign? Join e-newsletters. Like, get spammed by the company that you're like targeting or like the individual that you're targeting. You're gonna learn about products that they're launching, jargon that they use. You'll get an idea for like letterheads, how often they email. Like, it's just like a plethora of information. Find a reason for them to email you. If you can get them to email you, like I was saying before, you can get a bunch of info off them. So I'll do things like email a company and I'm like, hey, I had a question about like XYZ service and I was wondering if you could send me more info about it. They send it back, like you get their email address, so you learn like email address structure of the company as one part of it. Like it might be first name dot last name at company.com. It could be like first initial last name at company.com. You just basically start learning things about the company that's gonna help you in the future. Find internal docs. Like people have documents on Google all the time with things like, hey, how do you log into this system? Or how do you reset your password on this system? So like get info, you're good to go with that. You can reuse it. Yes, it's cool. So save phishing examples. Those that I showed earlier, like I probably wouldn't bother saving those, but definitely like save stuff that looks good. There's always like research blogs and whatnot that are posting about like malware that's being spread. So like check out what like people with phishing campaigns on a more attacker-centric side are doing. Like how are they getting their malware installed? What are they doing that's like making them successful? Learning from your enemy is like really cool because those guys are like the real pros. Like they make their livelihood off that. This was like, I guess I'm using Namecheap for something. Probably to register domains. I would recommend them, or like any web host that provides like free webmail if you register a domain is awesome because you could like, you don't even have to set up your own SMTP server. You could like mail right off of their free webmail hosting. So yeah, like I know Namecheap does it, HostGator I believe does it, and a bunch of others. It's pretty common. But like from this little thing, I'm like, oh cool, like I know that that's the letterhead that they use on their emails, and I know that like they just opened up hosting in the UK, so maybe I can use that to my advantage when I'm like launching a campaign. Yeah, it is September already, that's crazy. All right, so the rest of this stuff is like gonna be mostly live demo, so like I'm crossing my fingers. You guys have to cross yours too and promise that you do. Otherwise, it's gonna fail. Like it's gonna go bad. But yeah. So and it's also alpha code. Like I coded this up as like a side project. Just hey, this is something I kind of want to do. So I started coding this tool called Fishpole, and the basic idea is like, whereas Set is a really cool tool for like a consultant to send out a phishing campaign and get people to like execute Java payloads and actually have commands, code execution run on under their computer. I don't really care about that. Like that's cool and all, but a lot of people just want to know like, hey, is my security awareness training effective? Like, because if not, we have to fix this. So I decided I wanted to make something that was more for like internal teams or like engagements like that. So the basic idea is it tracks who comes in, tracks what they click, assigns everyone a unique user ID, and like separates it out by campaigns, and like it has some pretty nice graphs, and I'm adding more because I found this really nice graphing library in JavaScript. I recommend people use it. But so fuck it, we're gonna do it live. I have to push this to GitHub, and I'm really scared because it's the first time I'm pushing it to GitHub. Yes. Oh no, things are failing already. There we go. All right. I just got that. Well played, sir. All right, cool. Let's try this. Git push origin master. Oh, fail. Fail. Okay. Why did that fail? Any Git pros here?
Try to flag
Dash U. Oh. I just hate the initial commits. If not, I'm just gonna have to submit this later.
You might have to create the repository and GitHub first.
Yeah, I've got that created. Oh, well, I guess it's there. No. All right. Well, trying to push to Git. So, like, I was trying to push the project to Git, so it would be there by the time I finish the talk, but that's not working, so, oops. Excuse me? I'm sorry. I pushed initially. There were some problems with the refs. I don't know. Like, I'm not going to spend time debugging it because that's just a waste of time. So yeah, we're just going to go to Fishbowl. Wow, let's scroll over. So it's like nice, I guess, login page. Just log in. It supports multiple users, although like user roles aren't currently incorporated, but man, this thing is weird. Let me try to fix this. So the first thing you're shown is the dashboard, and let me just make my... There we go. The first thing you're shown is the dashboard, and that's pretty cool because it tracks like, oh, like how many hits I had on that day, and like makes pretty lines. There was a lot more in here, but I decided to like clean it out before I did this talk. And then like there's some cool stuff all around. The stats page is gonna have a lot more graphs and like prettiness. Oh, that's a little small. But basically so far, excuse me, it shows you like how many hits you've gotten, the IP address that did it, the host name that did it, the browser, version, OS, the time they did it, the campaign it was under, and the user ID. The user ID is generated. It's just a SHA-512 hash of the email address. I didn't want to store any like base. A lot of people do base 64, but I figure like if my traffic gets sniffed along the wire, like someone's email, I don't know. I don't feel comfortable with that. So I SHA-512 their email and use that as the UID. And the basic idea is like, I don't even know who that guy was, but if I need to know, I know everyone that I emailed, so I could push this into like Hashcat, or I could push this into John the Ripper and almost instantly crack it because I've already got the known like plain text of it. That was just like a weird like little security thing I wanted to add. But yeah, so you can do really cool things. The thing that I wanted to do was make it really easy for people to like make cool email templates without having like, most people know HTML, but Markdown's way more cooler anyway. So included in it was, hey, here's how we can make cool emails in Markdown so we can feel extra cools. There's only like one stipulation, is that you have to use @ URL, @ in place of your real URL, because it'll search through and it adds the UID and stuff and the campaign to it when you actually email it out. So like, I was like, all right, cool, we can do this. It looks awesome sauce, but what I really like about this is you can do live previews. You click on the little eyeball and it switches between, it's awesome. But yeah, like it switches between the actual Markdown editor and the HTML that's generated. So it's just, I don't know, it was kind of nerdy. It was completely unneeded, but I hate like what you see is what you get editors, and I figured this would be a really cool way to geek it up a bit. So workflow is really simple with this tool. You just like create a campaign, and you name it like DerbyCon. And you give it the campaign URL, which is going to get stored in the database, and it's going to get pulled later so that when in your template, when you send it out. It replaces it in, adds in the UID, adds in the campaign. So I'm just going to like point to my local server that's running Fishbowl currently. I don't have a very nice phishing page on there. I think it just says like lols, oh my god, test, test, test. But so like you submit it, campaign created, called DerbyCon. So you can like delete and edit campaigns as you see fit. When you go to create your email template, what's really cool is it uses local storage to store the template on your browser. So if you want to add this to like a bunch of different campaigns to do like split testing, you could easily do that just by going down, like coding up what you want in the markdown, and then selecting your campaign and submitting it. So bam, like, okay, cool, it added the campaign, to, like DerbyCon, it added the template to the DerbyCon campaign. Excuse me, I need water. One thing I also wanted to do was like, I really hate like what search engine crawlers, like I was saying. So I was like, hey, I want to ban them, like by IP address too. So included by default will be like a giant list of Yahoo, MSN, and Google IP addresses that I've noticed. Like I just observed them hitting my site. I let this up for like 2 months, I think, basically just harvesting IPs from them and just like finding info on the internet. So you can like add IPs to ban lists or like delete IPs or search for them. This one's not super needed. It's just in case you want to ban a particular thing that I didn't already ban for you. Like, I don't know, like Yandex crawler's not banned by default. So if like that's a big concern of yours, you could ban them. Like I was saying, there's like users, but there's no current roles, mainly because I'm the only one using it. So there was like no point in me having multiple users or anything. The code's quickly being switched over to use bcrypt hashes or phpass hashes. It's currently MD5 because like, man, like no real data stored in the database anyway. Like there's no email. So if you own me, like all you see is my templates. Like, meh. So I decided not really important right now. One thing I did think was pretty cool, like creating local 404 redirects like in htaccess. You could just be like, hey, you just have to give it the page that you want relative to the document root, and like, bam, you can make your own 404 redirect like when people hit it. So I use this primarily because I give the search engine crawlers a 404 error when they hit me when they're banned. So like now I can make them go to Meatspin if I want to. So like there's other features that are coming soon. I want to dump to XML. I just have to like figure out like the schema I want for that. But I figure like people have their own like parsers and other tools that they'll put the information into, like grab it from Fishbowl, throw it into their tool that does whatever they need to do, like even prettier graphs. More importantly though, I just, sorry. In the stats page, I've added all this stuff. This is the basic stuff. What I'm adding right now is heat map tracking. So like this comes from when I was studying internet marketing. You're like, I need to know like why my pages suck. Like why are people not even going close to my links? So you can see like where they are putting their mouse. You can see where they're hovering around. The challenge that I'm encountering right now with that is simply just that like there's no free JavaScript libraries for it. You have to pay for an API, and like no, like I don't want to do that. It does link tracking as well, which is really cool. But so like I wanted to take this and like extrapolate out like why I think it's going to be like a pretty decent framework. It's definitely not to replace Set, as I was saying earlier. Like this is more like for people that just want to get like stats and track who's clicking, who's doing what. Set is still really awesome for delivering payloads. I think eventually I'm going to make this more like quote unquote consultant friendly by adding a modular PHP exploit framework for browsers. And the basic idea will be like you can code up you can code up whatever you want, and it'll inject it into the phishing page when you create it, and people will like get popped with your exploit or your Java payload or what have you. So that's something that I feel is like, it's cool, it's nice to have, but I don't know, like it doesn't really help with my stat tracking. So I haven't added it yet, but I will be. More importantly, the big thing to do with this tool, is to have an SMTP server running. It's super simple to launch a campaign. You just go under campaigns, launch campaigns. You say who you want to email from, so like connection@derbycon.com. Subject subject like lols. And then derbycon@mailinator.com. You put your targets in like the little box one at a time, and like one line per email, and you just click submit. And it's going to be probably pretty slow. But so it sends it off. It does its whole thing. It's your typical like PHP mailer when it comes to that portion of it. Like you get your email. Oh man, they changed this. DerbyCon. That was weird. I think they just deleted it. They're like, no, bro, you can't fish. But you get a URL that's similar to. Like, so they would click onto it. Oh, shit. They would get the link, they click it, and oh my God, Lowell's test. That was just for click tracking. So they get it, and it's a little hard to read here, but in the GET request is the campaign ID and the UID. That gets added pretty seamlessly into our stats page. If I can click this. Yeah, so like we see that like I just hit it, has my browser, my version, my time, my campaign, my UID. So then I was like, hey, like how can I use this to actually make my phishing more effective? Because like this is cool, I can send emails, I can make them easy, I could basically like put this out on a server and like launch all my campaigns. But if I still suck at making phishing campaigns, like this does me nothing. So as I was building it, I was thinking like, what do those criminal phishers do that like makes them effective? Well, they want to know like what browser you're using, what version, what OS and time, just so they could like better target their end user. If I send out like a quick test phishing email, which is something I recommend everyone do, like you just ping them out real quick, see like who clicks over. You can get stuff like, oh, they're all running Windows on like Firefox. So like I'm probably going to want to send my payload like over a PDF thing if I'm sending a malicious payload that way. That's hit up their like internal PDF reader. You don't want to do things like send everyone like a .doc file, because like with me right now, like I'm coming from like a MacBook, so like probably going to open up in preview by default, and so like if you do things with macros, it's not going to work. So this comes back to like, hey, log what works and then figure out like what doesn't work and fix it. So I decided, okay, cool. This is all like so sorry. So I was going through this and I decided that I wanted to give this talk basically from a criminal perspective, and so now I'm going to cover some of that stuff. Let's see. So the big thing was like I started going through a lot of the security researching blogs, like they're mailing out this, they're mailing out that, and like seeing how they're doing it. And so I've decided like there's a lot of things to do to make yourself extremely effective. Like you have to rotate your SMTP servers, because like even if you're not blacklisted, if you're sending out a lot of email from that same SMTP server, eventually someone's going to flag it. Someone's going to say, hey, this is a phishing email, this is spam. And then once Google gets a hold of that without saying, like, you're screwed, your SMTP server is officially burned. So like, don't stick to one SMTP server. Like, rotate out every couple campaigns, or like every campaign if you have enough SMTP servers is like expendable. Another thing is like run split tests. Divide your campaign up into two different targets. Don't just have like, hey, log with this OWA. Make one where you send them to try down an executable. And you want to do this because you want to be concerned with like current trends in how users are like interacting with phishing emails, and also like current trends in security awareness training. If you notice like no one's ever doing your executables anymore, you can quickly switch off your split campaign and email that other group your campaign that you know is working, and you can get like better click-through rates, better conversions that way. So that's something that I've been incorporating in my own phishing, and it's been working pretty cool. You don't burn yourself instantly, like if you only send half your batch with one kind of phishing, like with 1 minute page. So like a perfect example of this was I emailed someone out. I said, hey, like we're migrating over to like a different OWA server. Like log in, make sure your credits work, they're going to go through a third party, they'll be like all over balancing fun stuff. I sent it out, and you were like, no, we're not clicking this. Like, we're not stupid. Like, so I was like, okay, crap. Like, I just burned myself to 25 users. And then I was like, that was all the people that I could send to. So I decided, hey, can I send another one? I called Fine up. He's like, yeah, you can do that. I sent them another thing, which was like, hey, here's your W-2s, bro. And they're like, oh, we totally want that. So like, they went that way, out that way. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to start split testing things from now on. Like, just send them to 2 places. Because if I sent my W-2 and everyone was like, man, we don't actually want that. Because like, we fell for that already. We know your tricks. And actually, I only burned half my list. I can send them like an OWA link or like whatever else link. I can still make them up, and I get better click rate. I'll just instantly get burned and half my emails never be delivered. Well, never get through to it.
Also, your keyword is phishing.
I have to drink every time I want to say it.
Yeah. Yeah, so active.
God. Okay. So yes, that was one thing, and I learned that just to do this. I would run 2 campaigns with basically the same user list, and I was going through that. I was like, oh, this is cool. Split that's really cool. Internet marketing is awesome. What else can I learn from internet marketing that's going to help me with my actual phishing emails? So one thing I learned was copywriting is awesome. Like if you learn how to write good text like to sell a product, you will be like invaluable running phishing emails because like you don't have to communicate with the person. You get down very like make quick emails that they're like, oh yeah, this is legit. They send it out. So I started looking at the copywriting stuff, or copywriting, and but not like that other one, not even another kind of copywriting. But so like, I did that, and I noticed that my conversion rates were getting like a lot higher when I sent out my phishing emails because I wasn't writing like it was handed out earlier. Like things look legit. So I was like, what else can I learn? So I joined like internet marketing forums like crazy. I was like, I'm just going to be a professional scammer because those guys that people click on the links all the time. What I realized was their emails, like they're cool and all, but the big thing is their landing pages are what's getting them like everything. If you have a terrible landing page, no one's going to do anything. Like your email could be written like by Shakespeare. No one's going to like click on your landing page if it looks like crap. If your landing page looks like mine, here we go. Like, it's not going. If it looks like that, no one's clicking test. Like, this looks suspect. So learning how to make good templates is really important, and so that's why I want to include heat map tracking into the framework. It's something I've done on my own, like I've incorporated with my own paid for API, and I've done it in my own phishing tests. Like my conversion rates get so much higher when I know that like this demographic or like this vertical, they like their links over here, and they don't really like images too much. Like if I have something to direct them over this way, like they rarely ever use it. Like they don't care. So heat map tracking is awesome. You get to learn your users. You get to see trends in your own phishing. In your own campaigns, you don't have to rely on like waiting for someone to like write a post or something. So you got to get out there. You got to start doing like hardcore internet marketing. So heat maps are cool. But I was like, we need something more better. Like this is like I don't know. My conversion rates got higher, but they weren't super cool. So I was like, what can I do to make conversion rates higher? I want 100% conversion rate every time because I want to own everybody in that, like, in my campaign. So what I started doing was blasting them out beforehand, like a nonsensical email. Like, just send it out. Like, I want to see if it gets through their spam filter. More importantly, I build up reputation with their server. If I send them something that they didn't send, that they didn't mark as spam. So like, I'll email them something like, "Hey, attach this document," but like, forget to attach it. And I'm like, "Oh, my bad. Like, here's that real email I wanted to send you." And I'll send it to them shortly afterwards. They haven't blocked my first email, so I got some reputation across their network. And then this one comes in, they're like, "Oh, I'm expecting it from this guy." So now they're like, I totally want to click his link. So when I did that, my conversion rate skyrocketed. I was getting about like 80% conversion from my email templates to like a click through from my email templates to the landing page. And then when I did that, I jumped up to like 80%. And I realized it was really just because I was like doing it like a two-step kind of process. Like they're gonna want to click it because they already know that I'm sending them something. So it's not some random thing like, hey, click this link like in the middle of the day. They just think I'm stupid. Like, oh man, I can't even email. So they come here a little bit of a style of break. And then more importantly, like I've already emailed them once, so I've got a reputation on a server. It's less likely that I'm gonna get caught by their spam trap and like get blacklisted by them and then possibly blacklisted by someone else. So then I started looking at that and I was like, this is cool, but I want more conversion rates. And so I was looking at switching to mobile, like automatically switching, if I see a mobile user agent, switch over to a mobile page because like real companies do this, and a lot of people have iPhones and Androids and the like. They get the email on their phone via like Good or the Outlook app or whatever. They click the button and they go to it. So if it's already optimized for iPhones or like just mobile devices in general, it goes back to that laziness thing. Like oh, like cool, it's right here. I want to search the page. Like you make your stuff tailored to them, and you're good to go. So that's in the tools. It's almost finished developing now. I'll be pushing that actually shortly after this talk. But I've already got something where you can create automatic like redirects into your phishing pages. So like it sees it, it looks at the phishing page instead. So this is like the back end. That's cool. But how do I actually use this thing? So it's super simple to, let's see. It's super simple to get this talking and collecting stats. All you have to do, man, that's tiny. Basically, you create your phishing page and like whatever you want. You could rip it. I'm adding that functionality to instantly rip, forget it, to instantly like clone websites similar to what Set does and a bunch of other tools do. But it's really simple because you create your index.php or index.whatever, and you include a single file, and that like instantly makes it start talking to the backend database. And the reason I was doing that was I want to host my phishing pages on. I want to host my phishing pages on different domains because if I'm always hosting on the same domain, eventually I'm going to get blacklisted. I'm going to get screwed. So I want to be able to like include this file from anywhere or any server. And if I just remote my SQL, they'll connect to it, and I can still do my tracking from central location. Let's go back to the user thing. Like multiple users can send multiple campaigns and getting the data back in the same spot. So if you're on a team, you can correlate all your data super easy. No emailing people stuff. Just like I don't know. It just like makes it a lot easier. So so I made it a simple like PHP include the files anywhere in your phishing page, and then bam, you start tracking your links. Let's see. Yeah. All right. So, wow. So, like, that's the bulk of it. Does anyone have any questions? I know a couple of rush, but.
I was wondering if you've done any work with social media scraping and spear phishing.
So yeah, I've done some of that. It can be useful. The thing is, I've noticed that my click-through rates on social media are really low because it's kind of saturated right now. Everyone's like going after people, and I get Twitter spam like every day. People like direct messaging me and stuff. But what I have found useful with that is finding internal bots and like the like. If I can find out people's names in the company, it's useful for like both my email list and whatnot.
Have you gone through like researching your like the company you're getting ready to test to see what vendors they work with and sign up for their newsletters or use their stuff?
Yeah, so that goes back to sign up to newsletters. Like when I'm chumming the water, so to speak, like I'm trying to learn everything I can about them. So that's like I'm joining every newsletter they have. Like I just have a burner email where I just get spammed by like people all day. So yeah, like I'll join their partners' newsletters too, because I figure, hey man, if you're their partner, like maybe you communicate with them. So I can be like, hey, here's an update to like the firmware. Go for it, and like start running binaries or whatever I want. And that's had varying success. Apparently, people don't really talk to their partners too much over like email when it comes to stuff like that. It's very niche, so it has its perks, I suppose, but it hasn't really impacted like my standard day-to-day campaigns significantly.
Are there copyright and trademark issues when you are kind of impersonating a partner?
So typically, I have to go through my customer contact first. Like, hey, is it cool if I do this? I'm not just gonna like randomly email like out to the company. I'm gonna vet like even the landing page through my contact. Like, hey, is this cool? Like, does this email template look cool to you? And so that way they have a chance to say, well, no, don't do that. Like, we don't want to say any problems in that aspect. So yeah, like always just run it through your point of contact, and you typically find on that aspect. So currently, like, implementing everything I implemented here, as well as like the heat map stuff, I am at like 80% conversion rate, which is decent. I haven't. I want to get to 90% conversion rate, but I feel like it's a little skewed because I'm going after people with like it's not like doing internet marketing where like you're trying to attack the average user. Like I'm trying to do something really specific, and so I think that impacted my conversion rate a little bit. But more importantly, I think it's artificially inflating my conversion rate because it's easier to get someone to type in their password than sell them something with traditional internet marketing. So what I've noticed is small things. If you notice that like a small thing that internet marketers are doing, get like even a 1% conversion rate increase, like it'll become exponentially larger in phishing just because those small things really set it over the edge. I got it. Anything else? Sorry. Cool. So it's going to be up on GitHub. It's github.com/connection/fishbowl with POLL. And they're going to push up to there right after this talk. I got to figure out why I wasn't pushing earlier. The -U flag, yeah. I'll try that out. But yeah, so that's going to get pushed there. And then basically, like, complain to me on there. Like, tell me it sucks, and then I'll fix things. Or tell me that it's awesome, and then I'll make it suck more. Oh, yeah.
You're short.
I know.
How do you fix it?
Stilts. I just forgot them today. I stand all the way up here.